Hi there, this is Sahid with the Bloom Show. Thank you for joining us. Brought to you by New Bloom Solutions and Above All Flowers. This entire month, we're going to be talking to wholesalers and just talking about the flower industry in general, looking at the post-COVID, looking at logistics, just looking at also innovations and opportunities, and just generally just talking and highlighting the wholesale sector. And a part of that sector that sometimes we don't realize it's a real big sector and kind of you need it, and without it, you can't do it, is the hard goods sector. So it's a pleasure to have Nick Fronduto today on with us from Jacobson. And I just was talking to him, 75 years the company's been around. So the wealth of information that they're going to bring to the table. And not only that, he was the ex-president of WFSA as well. I hope I'm saying this right, but he was also the ex-president of WFSA. So the information and value that he could bring to the table and just to educate us as well is amazing. So please feel free to ask all the questions you like. That's just super important. That's a part of this. Networking is also a part of it. So if you're interested in speaking to Nick, I'm kind of throwing him out there, but I say reach out to him. I'm pretty sure he'll share his information, or at least if you're interested in the product, reach out to him as well. This is what I try to do, is to build a community through New Bloom Solutions where we can connect, bloom, and collaborate together through inspiration, through innovation, and through community. So help me invite Nick on, and I really look forward to it. So stay on board. Hi, Nick.
Hey, Sahid. How are you?
How's it going, my man? Very well.
Hey, good to see you.
We saw each other a couple seconds ago, but it feels like it was forever.
Yep.
nice to see you, man. Thank you again for joining us. Really appreciate it. Truly appreciate you joining us. Thank you again, man.
My pleasure.
I got to meet you at WFSA accidentally in the line, remember?
In the food line, right.
In the food line.
Of course. That's where you can find me usually. Yeah.
Right next to the hamburgers.
Yeah.
So I had met you through chatting and stuff, and then I introduced myself. You're like, I'm Nick. So pleasure meeting you again, and nice to see you again, man. So straight to the questions. Tell us about your journey in the flower industry. How did you end up? Where did you come from, and how did you end up in the worldwide world of flowers?
Yeah, I had a career in the supermarket industry prior to coming to Jacobson's. I've been here now 21 years, and I had been with 2 supermarket chains. And most recently, I was responsible for purchasing of supplies for that supermarket chain. So I had a relationship with Jacobson, and that chain ultimately was bought out by another chain. And I took that opportunity to change gears, and I came to Jacobson in 2000. And have been here ever since. So it was interesting to look at the other side of the other side of the scale, and it's been very gratifying. I really have enjoyed it quite a bit.
Let me ask you. I warned you that I would be asking you questions off questions.
That's right.
How did working in the supermarket chain help you and translate into the flower industry?
I think the thing that I think it's most the discipline in any retail environment, as our retail florists know, particularly in the supermarket business. I mean, ultimately, we're a penny business, and the devil is certainly in the details. So I have had my whole career was really looking at pennies and nickels, and whether it be, purchasing supplies or cost of utilities in the stores, labor, God knows labor. So I think those disciplines helped me when I came here to take things with a real critical eye and look at some of our operation. And I think that was by far the most beneficial of those disciplines.
So can you say if a wholesaler is looking for help and for talent, for candidates, is it smart to look into the supermarket aspect?
Oh, I'm I always tell our folks here that if someone applies from a supermarket chain, put them at the top of the list. And for those reasons, for the training in the disciplines. And we do have a couple folks that work for us now that had a career in the supermarket. And one of our best people came from Home Depot, where he had kind of the same training that we had in the supermarket. It's very similar. And they've been incredible addition. So absolutely, they go to the top of the list if their application comes in here.
That is neat. That's good to know. That's a good tidbit of information because that talent has been scarce.
And plus they used to working. I mean, the supermarkets are open 364 days a year. I think they close Christmas at this point. So they used to work being flexible with hours and shifts and working days and nights. And so they not only do they possess those skills that I described, but they're very flexible in terms of their abilities to work.
And they also understand perishable goods and logistics in a sense, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. So we're fortunate, as you said at the outset, we don't have to deal with perishability, which, but my peers in the industry say I'm lucky because, I say they're lucky because they get to throw away their mistakes at the end of the week. I have to keep mine for years and years and years and still have some. So
there's sore thumbs there for you. You're like, what do I do with this? So I understand you were the president of WOFSA. Please share with us the importance of their organization. What did you get out of it, and why should people look into WOFSA, and what's the benefit of being a part of WOFSA?
I can't say enough about it. When I came into the industry, I was the last chain I was involved with. I was the representative to the Massachusetts Food Association. So we would meet on a monthly basis and talk about common problems that we had in our industry, and collectively, as a group of chains, would come up with solutions. So when I came into the floral industry, I realized there really wasn't anything like that on a local level. And for a guy like me who was new to the industry and really didn't know a lot of the granular type stuff, I really reached out, and I got involved with WOFSA, and I tell you, it's one of the best things I ever did in my life. The networking, these best practices and solutions, some of the things we talk about in terms of being problems for us. There isn't a problem that you will encounter that someone else in this industry hasn't encountered or can't give you advice on. And I found that incredibly worthwhile. So I really took to that, and I made a lot of great relationships with people that I can just pick up the phone, and if I have an issue that they can help me resolve it. And I tell you, it's a really gratifying feeling. And I mean, you saw the energy at the conference where it was incredible, and the networking that can be done there it's just out of this world. I also spent the last 3 years on the board of directors of SAF, and it's the same thing. SAF, terrific organization, unbelievable for networking. They're a tremendous advocate for the industry in terms of government relations. So, we always say that the people who really respect and value the membership in these organizations, unfortunately, are the ones that participate. So we're always trying to grow the membership, but the people that you're trying to grow with really don't understand how valuable these relationships are, because you don't know until you're involved, and then you're really wowed by it because it is truly incredible.
We actually just became members of SAF, so we're really excited about attending.
Excellent.
And
getting
to get a feel for that vibe and collaborating and meeting new people.
It's wonderful. And their convention's coming up the third week of September in Orlando, and that'll be another great networking event.
That's awesome. And then, so I read your article about freight costs. Could you tell us your thoughts on that? What has been happening? How is it affecting? I've heard crazy things about China. They're up to $10,000 in some cases for containers.
I wish we could get one for $10,000.
Okay, so that's the small one. So tell me about it.
Yeah. So what happened was, when the pandemic hit, it really set a number of things in motion. Everything kind of came to a halt. A lot of the ports closed. A lot of the factories closed because of COVID. You ended up with situations in which the shipping containers, were stuck in the wrong places around the world. They weren't really where they should have been. There was any move afoot because it was a container shortage anyway. But given the drop in demand with the pandemic, new construction on containers stopped. Okay, so we had a situation, everything kind of went into freeze. The many factories were closed. So fast forward 8 or 9 months, things started getting better we came out from under lockdown and things became a little freer, and the demand built up incredibly. So now all this stuff that was kind of held in abeyance had to speed up to handle this increased demand, and it's just overwhelmed the system. So you put orders in, and we do quite a bit of importing, put orders in with China, and there's limited space on the container ships. Now, these container ships that maybe last year were coming back and forth to North America 14 times a year, and now that they only could do it 12 times a year because of the backlogs, so they're charging more to make up for all the lost revenue, not only for that, but for the year they lost with pandemic. So it's really incredible. You can't get spots on the ship. And if you do get a spot on the ship, the rates are literally 4 to 5 times what they were a year ago, driving costs up incredibly. And if you say no, I mean, you can't say no because it's not really an option, because number one, they'll just sell the space to the next person in line. And number two, if you have valued relationships with factories, there's no way you can say, okay, I know you just made all this product, but we're not going to take it because we can't put it in a ship. What are they going to do with it? So you leave them kind of holding the bag. So, and it's compounded by the fact that a lot of the ports in this country now, and there were some extenuating circumstances. For example, that Suez Canal, the ship that gets stuck in there, gummed up works for at least a week, maybe even more. It got so bad that Home Depot bought their own container ship so they could be in control of their own destiny, bringing stuff over to the States. So it's been an incredible situation, that they're saying that it'll last through 2022. I don't know. No, I don't think anyone knows. And we've been a little surprised. There really hasn't been a lot of government intervention on that end, and I'm not sure what they could do. But we kid around here that people will start taking it seriously when they can't get Christmas toys, or if the Christmas toys are too expensive. But up until then, we're just doing the best we can. Factories still are dealing with COVID. We just heard yesterday that a port in Ningbo, China, just shut down because of COVID. So now people that are desperate for product that have factories near that area are going to divert it to other ports, creating more of a backup. And that's some of the little things are things like they're doing construction at our port here in Boston. So most of the stuff coming from China has to go to New York, and we have to pay to truck it here. And a lot of the container ships, because they're so anxious to come back and forth, they're leaving before they can fill their ship with containers. They don't want to wait around to have their container ship loaded with empty containers. They're just taking off. So it's a real mess. It really is a mess. And we're doing the best we can and trying to limit the inconvenience for our customers. It's a challenge, but
how are you managing?
That's what we do, I guess.
How are you managing time frame? So I guess you've already ordered for the holiday. Like, how are you managing all that?
Yeah, so we try to get orders in early, and we try. We generally get our product in July and August, but now it has been delayed, and that you hit the nail on the head. That's the real danger point. You have certain products that are fall specific, and maybe we can take a couple of 3-week delay. We can't take a couple of 3-month delay. Not only are we going to, disappoint our customers, but then we're sitting on all this inventory that's most of which has been paid for a year, and there's no good solution. So we're trying to expedite it any way we can, but we have it's fairly limited because everyone's in the same boat. So
it makes sense, and it almost sounds like a perfect storm almost.
Yeah, truly was.
So tell us about the challenges of hard goods as it relates to increased demand and sourcing challenges that have risen. And I guess that's really where we're going. It's the pandemic has really created just this cluster and bottleneck of logistics, right? Has there been any, because there is an increased demand, correct, as well?
Oh, the demand, the interesting thing is the demand is fantastic. And I think ultimately, I think it's going to be very good for the industry, because what happened during this pandemic, And because people were under lockdown and weren't able to see their grandmothers and their mothers and their aunts, many people turned to flowers as a gift-giving tool. So on Mother's Day, instead of taking mom or grandma out to brunch or going away for the weekend or doing these things, people were sending flowers. So we noticed in talking with our customers and looking at the products we were selling, a tremendous increase in the day-to-day business in the industry that had been ebbing a little for the past few years. It really surged. And I think the good news is, we're kind of coming out of COVID. We don't see that. It's the level is higher than it was before COVID. So I think people are realizing, hey, this is a pretty good thing to do. So they get used to having flowers around the home. The recipients absolutely love the flowers. And I think that's here to stay. So I think that an unintended consequence and benefit. Some of the other challenges as it relates to product, once again, once the demand came back, there was an incredible push on the raw materials. And the raw materials weren't lined up perfectly with the demand. I'll give you an example. We buy a lot of glassware domestically. And during the pandemic, these glass companies will use domestic glass makers, and they'll contract with them X number of hours a week to make their line of glass. Well, the demand for things like glass baking pans, measuring cups, wine bottles, all these things that people started using because they were stuck at home, changed entirely the factory's outlook and production in terms of what they were able to produce. So as a result, there was a tremendous difficulty getting glassware. And I will say our customers were fantastic. They understood, they adapted, they moved on to other items. But this happened in like every segment. We sell gift bags. We had a hard time getting the gift bags because the restaurants went to takeout, and there was a huge demand for these gift bags. So now they were taking all the gift bags. They couldn't make the bags fast enough. And if you look at basically every line we carry, I can kind of tell you a story of how the pandemic changed the demand within that channel, thus setting in motion a series of events as it relates to raw materials, so that when we get back to normal, it really isn't normal the way we knew it before. So those challenges exist to this day. And, that's on top of things that happen anyway. You'll have a vendor that potentially, they were hacked, or, one company may have had an incidence of COVID, had to shut down for a week. So there are a number of things like that happen normally anyway. And you add it to what some of these things I talked about in terms of change of demand, and it really set everything on edge. And I think it's compounded by the delivery issues. It's everyone's having those issues. I mean, all the way from coast to coast truckers to our retail florists. Difficult to get drivers. There are way more that are retiring than are signing up to be drivers, and it's putting tremendous pressure on getting product on a timely basis and escalating costs. So,
what tip can you give florists, designers, event planners on how to work better and closer and more efficient with their suppliers, either hard goods or florists?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is really be flexible. If they have a level of flexibility, we can push them in the direction to tell them, hey, we know if you want to commit to this product, you want to use this product for the next 3 or 4 months, we know we're going to have this in stock. We know the supply line on this item is fairly good. So we're able to, as best we can, either by knowing that we have existing stock, or knowing that supply line may be a little cleaner, we may be able to help them. But I think the key right now is flexibility. And I know, if you've always used this vase and, you're having trouble getting that vase, then maybe if, we can give you advice on a vase you can swap out and maybe be more predictable in its availability.
Be open to flexibility. It's like in the flower industry, don't order by variety, order by color. Yeah. So
right.
same world, I guess. And then, do you the show and my method and just my belief is collaboration, right? Let's all collaborate. Let's give the industry a voice. How do you or do you collaborate with other wholesalers? Is there such a thing of hard goods also, collaborating in a way and sharing customers with other wholesalers in your area?
Yeah, I think the advantage we have once again is we are hard goods only. So we, so first on a very local collaboration, we have a 30,000-foot facility here on Albany Street in Boston, and right under our roof, we have Quinlan Wasserman. They're at the other end of our building. Half of their space they sell fresh flowers, the other half they sell plants. So that's a collaboration in which anyone can come into this facility and get their supply, their fresh, and their plant needs in one stop. So that's a very basic and dramatic, and look at how we collaborate. And we also collaborate with a number of wholesalers in the New England area who maybe don't buy as much as we do, or they don't import, and we work with them to provide them with lines of items that they may not ordinarily have. So yeah, there is a lot of collaboration. We have a history with it. Years ago, we operated with a wholesaler in Connecticut and in Springfield, where we did the supplies and they did the plants and flowers, and they were all delivered together. So we have a little bit of experience with that, and it's definitely a thing, and it's we probably should do more of it. It's just once again, everyone's busy with their work, but there is an opportunity because we're all going to the same places oftentimes. I think that's one of the challenges for the next several years is, how do we tackle the logistics and delivery and a hard goods and a fresh flower supplier. I mean, that's a perfect synergy because, as I said, you probably overlap 75% of your customers.
So you would encourage other hard good companies to reach out to fresh flowers and build that relationship.
Well, most of it's a little bit, the challenge is most of the hard good suppliers in this country also sell fresh flowers and plants. So sure. We're a bit of an anomaly. I don't think there are many like us. I know of like two or three.
There's a couple. Yeah. There's a handful.
So for those, I don't know what they're doing, but it certainly has worked for us.
There's some companies that only sell silk flowers, for example.
Right.
That's another aspect if the wholesaler is not selling silk, so it doesn't want to invest because that's a big investment as well.
Right.
And then where do you see, Nick, in your magic crystal ball, where do you see our industry in the next 5 years?
Well, I think, I came into the industry in 2000. At the time, I saw a presentation that said within the next 10 years, there would be 5 wholesalers and, 80% of the retail florists would close. And, anytime anyone's tried to write off this industry, they've been wrong. I'm really bullish in the industry. And as I said, I think the pandemic is going to end up being the unintended consequence is going to be continued growth for our industry. I think I think there's going to be tremendous growth. I think it's going to be, the channels are going to take more form, and you're going to have people that are going to specialize as they do now, but I think you'll see more of it in terms of special events and weddings and everyday type work. But, if you really think about it, the thing I always come back to is I think what people are going to want more and more over the next 5 years, people want things today, right? So Amazon's trying to deliver today. They want to now deliver within 2 hours. Well, you know what? Florists have been doing that for years. I mean, florists have been doing that for years. Florists were delivering same day for as long as I can remember. And, they mastered the art of same day delivery. So I'm very bullish on the future. I think the pie is going to grow for all of us. And I think that those channels will continue to grow. So that's where I am. I'm very, very optimistic on where the industry is going.
And we were just talking earlier as well how DoorDash and Uber, they're getting involved. I know Amazon did a push to reach out to even distributors. So if they're looking at the flower industry, I think there's a future for us.
I think you're right. I think we talked about, you have, in many cases, I still come back to, you look at any main street in any small town in our area, and you'll see the UPS driver will stop at these places. Then you'll see a flower truck stop at. Then you'll see the restaurant delivery person stop at these places. I think that DoorDash, Uber, and as I said to you earlier, I think it's a great thing for florists to pursue. It's a small package. These people are used to going to homes, residential, a little harder for us probably because we're, in some cases delivering 10, 20 cases and the vehicles don't accommodate that. But I think that's out of the box thinking that I think makes a lot of sense. And I think it's, in most cases, really cost effective. So I think you're right. You're going to see more of that. And you're going to see someone who's going to figure out how to aggregate all these deliveries and do it in a way that you just go in online, you queued up, and I think that almost has to happen.
And we've seen a couple of things happening in India, and I kept a track of that. So there's companies kind of doing it, and I'm almost sure there's a startup having a conversation right this minute.
Right.
The power of startups, don't underestimate it. So,
that's right.
The power.
And then when they come up, you scratch your head and say, "Why didn't?" Geez, they
think about it.
Why didn't I think of that? Right?
Of course. So again, thanks so much for joining. One of the last questions I usually ask, because again, it's all about building community and collaborating. Is there anyone out there you would like, and you know everybody, man, but is there anybody out there you would like to collaborate, maybe even FedEx, but for example?
It's funny, I was thinking that, I think thanks to SAF and WFSA, I really have been fortunate to meet a lot of great people and people that I can call up, and if they don't have the solution, they'll put me in touch with someone who does. But I would like to meet that person at the Federal Maritime Commission to talk to him about these imports and find out what that's going on. So I'm going to try, if you can help me with that, that'd be great. If not, I'm going to try to pursue that because.
So if anybody knows that guy, please.
Yeah, if anyone knows that guy, I'd love to, please put in a word.
So Nick, how can people reach out to you? How can people connect with your company? I do have your website here. So
Jacobsonfloral.com. It's a full e-commerce website. You can reach me at nfronduto@jacobsonfloral.com. And I'd be happy to help. But as I said, I think if you're going through something, either everyone has been through it before. I can certainly help. If I can't help, I can certainly try to help, I should say. And if I can't help, I'll put you in touch with someone who I think can help. We're all this industry is a big family, and that's one of the things that struck me as well is people are just very anxious to help you and come up with solutions to help your business. So please reach out if you have any questions. As I said, I can point you in the right direction. I would be happy to do so.
And it doesn't cost us anything to do it. So it's just such a great feeling to help someone else grow in their business. So
absolutely,
that goes off to you. Thank you for that. So Nick, pleasure for your time, man. I know.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoyed it.
So thank you for joining. Truly appreciate your time. Look forward
to
seeing
thanks,
you again in WFSA or SAF. You're going to be at SAF?
Yes.
All right. I'll see you there.
I'll see you then.
We'll meet at the hamburger line.
All right. You'll find me in the food line. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
So again, another great episode. For me, I get so much value out of these conversations, and I really hope that the industry entirely gets the value that I see out of these conversations, because these are the people that have been doing doing their thing and are experts in their field for so many years. And by just coming on the show for 30 minutes, the value that they're adding to our industry and the value that they're adding to everybody else's work life, you could say, in the sense of the more information we know, the more educated we know, the better we can make decisions. So again, thank you to Nick and Jacobson Floral for joining us today. Next week, I believe, or at the end of the month, we're going to have Berkeley Floral Supply. That's been around for 75 years as well, one of the oldest wholesalers here in Miami or in Florida. So super excited of talking about that because of the history of the industry and how it started here in Miami and how it transitioned. So I really look forward to that. Please do us a favor and subscribe. It's super important for us for you to subscribe, like, and share, and comment. And always, thank you again for being a part of this. Thank you again for joining. And we truly appreciate your time and joining and watching and tuning in. And if you ever need to reach out, please feel free to go to our website, newbloomsolutions.com. You can always schedule a call or email me at Sahid@newbloomsolutions.com. Again, thank you for your time. Truly appreciate it. Hope to see you next show. Take care.